Did you know that ancient Egyptians kept playing sports even in the afterlife? Welcome to my channel, and today let's find out the hidden secrets of ancient Egyptian sports. The ancient Egyptians were crazy about sports. They believed that engaging in physical activities was a necessary part of life to keep the body and mind healthy. The goal was to navigate your piece across the board and avoid landing in certain spaces. That would send you back to the start. In ancient Egypt, it wasn't just a sport, it was a spectacle. The wrestlers would cover themselves in a type of resin that made their skin hard as metal. They loved to bet on the outcomes of games and matches, and they even had a special word for it: House of Winning. But don't be fooled by the name. It was not always a house of winning. In fact, it was more like a house of cards. They gambled on everything, and they often ended up losing big time. Then they'd add a special ointment that made it almost impossible to hold on to their bodies. You could have been an ancient Egyptian wrestler covered in resin and on the losing team. The idea was to outlast your opponent by preventing them from getting a grip on you. But it wasn't all about individual glory. The Egyptians also had team sports. They played a game called Meg, which involved two teams trying to push a large ball into each other's territory. Can you imagine the size of the ball? If they could do this without an airbud, they must have been Hercules and the team with the ball. Their job was to protect it at all costs. If they got caught with the ball, they had to pay a penalty, usually involving a forfeit or sometimes even slavery. That's right. The stakes were that high. But here's the catch. Just like real life, if you landed on the wrong square, you had to pay a penalty. They believed that the pharaohs were the gods of the Nile River and had a monopoly on fishing there. Only the pharaohs and their friends were allowed to fish in the sacred waters. And you won't believe what they use as bait. They actually used small crocodiles as bait to catch bigger ones. Can you imagine the sight of a crocodile swallowing a smaller one? Now that's fishing. And no, it wasn't a fine. You'd have to take off your clothes and get a beating with a stick. Ouch. Talk about a wild ride. Just like us, they also loved to have fun, and what better way than by playing games? But unlike our time, their games had some pretty interesting twists. Egyptians were all about that board game, Senate. It was more than just a game, it was a journey through the underworld. Now let's talk about wrestling, and let's not forget about the fishing. The Egyptians took their fishing seriously, but the ancient Egyptians were not only into sports, they were also big on gambling. So the next time you think your job is stressful or your boss is a pain, just remember, it could have been much worse.